Welcome back to .NET Rocks. This is Carl Franklin.
And this is Richard Campbell.
And we're still in Prague.
We like Prague. Prague is nice.
Yep. I went out to dinner and Czech picked up the check.
Okay. Is that where we're going to go today?
No, I promise. No more Czech jokes. I promise.
No null checks either?
I won't go there. No null checks.
Okay.
Nope. Check, please. None of that. So
check your bad humor at the door.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll do that. Anyway, just a warning. We will bleep, but there will be F-bombs
Coming up.
Coming up. Better Know Framework. Go.
All right, dude. What do you got?
This is a GitHub repo, and it's a little tool called the
Okay.
That's what it is.
And
it's a magnificent app inspired by @Liamosor, who's Liam O, on Twitter, that corrects errors in previous console commands. Basically, anytime that he has an access denied, it's an alias for sudo. So he just types and whatever.
It runs the previous command again with
deletes
sudo.
The history. It's like equals sudo $history minus p /bang/bang.
All right, I get it.
Now that is awesome.
That is brilliant.
Right.
It's a different league.
And they said naming things is hard, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It isn't that hard.
You're just not thinking creatively enough. So there you go. I thought it was great, and know it, learn it, love it. And actually, on second thought, no, don't.
Yeah, you don't need to know.
You don't need to
it's
know.
All right.
Anyway, short and sweet. Who's talking to us, Richard?
We grabbed a comment off of show 1585, the one we did down at NDC Sydney, the beginning of October. It was actually the end of September, with Adam Stevenson talking about making bots.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk a little bit about bots today. And this comment comes from Petters Vegson Broden, who said the Better Know framework ties better into the wider discussion of bots than you may have intended.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that Better Know framework was. It might have been the Trump bot or something funny like that. In Linus's announcements on kernel.org, he writes the following. And of course, this is when Linus was having this whole "I've been too mean,
that's right.
and I'm going to be nicer
kinder,
now."
gentler Linus.
Going to therapy, okay. And this is quoted from Linus Torvalds.
He doesn't use the
Yeah.
No, he's nicer now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This is quoted from Linus.
Okay.
And yes, some of it might just be tooling. Maybe I can get an email filter in place so that when I send an email with curse words, it just won't go out.
I sense a theme coming here
Because,
today.
hey, I'm a big believer in tools, and at least some problems going forward might be improved by simple automation. Or, in the words of Clippy, it looks like you're about to start a flame war. Would you like to go for a walk instead?
That's great. Now that's funny right there. I don't care who you are. Now that's funny.
Another thing, I was listening to this episode in the car and I thought I should comment on that Linus thing. I didn't want to forget, so I used Google Assistant to make a note for myself, telling me to make the note saying comment on .NET Rocks, and I'll let the screenshot speak for itself. And you can go back and look at that show if you want to get this screenshot.
Okay.
But the screenshot is make a note. Okay. Comment on dog networks.
Dog networks.
Like .NET, only different.
Only different.
Peter, great comment. Thanks for the laugh. And a copy of Music to Code By is on its way to you. And if you'd like a copy of Music to Code By, write a comment on the website at .NETRocks.com or on Facebook. We publish every show there. And if you comment there and we read it on the show, we'll send you a copy of Music to Code By. And
definitely follow us on Twitter. He's at Rich Campbell. I'm at Carl Franklin. Send us a tweet, because what the
Nice. You just had to squeeze one more bleep in there, didn't you?
Short and sweet.
Yeah, well, we pay Brandon by the bleep, so
that's
we're
great.
racking up some money here.
Yeah, it's going to cost us. Yeah.
My next framework will be called Bleep.
There you go.
For sure.
Just bleep. All right, let me introduce our guests who have been laughing along with us here. Edwin van Wijk and Sander Molenkamp. Edwin and Sander both work for a company called Info Support in the Netherlands. Sander is principal cloud architect. He's been helping customers by designing and developing solutions using Microsoft technology since 1999 and has a passion for cloud-native architectures. He's a Microsoft Azure MVP. Now, Edwin is a principal software architect and has been active in software development since 1999 also. He helps organizations with building distributed systems based on modern software architectures. Edwin's also a Microsoft MVP in the Developer Technologies category since 2016. Edwin and Sander speak regularly at conferences, run several meetups, and produce a video channel for developers called .NET Flix.
Not sued yet.
Not sued yet.
Yet.
Trying to.
.NET Flix.
You got it right.
I got it.
We figured it out right away. I'm sure some lawyer is going to get you one of these days.
I wasn't paying attention.
Can you say cease and desist?
That's really, really good.
Yeah, it's pun intended.
That's funny.
So why are you guys here at this conference? What are you doing here?
Yeah, we're just as a speaker here. So we're speaking on the conference. We both had some sessions, and one of the sessions we're going to talk about today was the 8-bit adventure game session. And we met Thomas, the organizer of the conference at the MVP Summit last year, and he invited us. So we sent in some sessions, and we're now here.
And here we are. Yeah.
And he took the session building awesome 8-bit adventure games with Microsoft Bot Framework.
So now,
Yeah,
to
I
me,
don't know why he did that. But
It's a fun session.
to me, 8-bit adventure games is ASCII because that's 8 bits per character.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Text adventure games, but you're talking about 8-bit graphics.
Yeah.
you know,
8-bit
like
graphics, 256 colors.
the old
Yeah.
style asteroids and all of that.
Yeah, so a little bit more recent, I think, than Asteroids. Basically, do you know the games from Lucasfilm Games?
Lucasfilm,
in the early
yeah.
days, like
Right.
Maniac Mansion,
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle, Monkey Island.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are really the type of games that we've both grew up with.
And even those adventure games that Infocom, I guess, they grew into.
That was Zork.
Yeah, that was Zork. But those are the text ones. But
Yeah.
what was like Leisure Suit Larry and all
Yeah.
of
That was
those?
like Sierra.
Yeah,
Sierra.
Sierra, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
King's Quest, Police
King's
Quest,
Quest,
all
Police-
those Quest games.
And I
Yeah.
think
Space
Sierra
Quest.
was more popular in the United States, and
You think?
LucasArts was always more popular over here in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting. So you basically showed how to make an 8-bit game in .NET?
Well, basically, it started with the bot framework because we wanted to do something with bot framework. And then
Right.
we said, oh, okay, let's build a demo. And most of the demos you see about bot framework is, okay, I'm a hotel bot. You want to book
Yes.
a room and
Yeah.
we also want to get a cab. So it's lots of the same stuff. And then we said, can we do a demo with
Yeah.
something that we're passionate about? And then we said, okay, what do we like?
Not
You know-
passionate about service desk? Come on.
Okay, but there are other things. So, and then we said, okay, what do we like? We both have a passion for these kinds of games.
Right.
And when we start looking at Zork, because you mentioned it,
Right.
it is basically a bot. It tells you where you are, you give
Yep.
it a command, it does something, and it tells you something else. And
Exactly.
that's where it all started, basically.
You're in a maze of twisty little passages all alike.
Right.
It's dark. You're
It's
likely
dark.
to be eaten
There
by
is a
rodent.
glove
Yeah.
here.
Leave the glove alone. Believe me.
Don't
Yeah.
touch the
So,
glove.
so that's where it started, and it basically grew out into first a text-based version, and then actually also a complete UI with 8-bit graphics. So
That's
what it
crazy.
became.
That
Yeah.
is nuts.
Where can I get this game?
You can play it currently at, I think the URL is playgametron4000.azurewebsites.net.
Wow.
Play Gametron
4000.
4000.
All right. So let's describe what we're looking at here. This is that Scott Guthrie? Because he's wearing a red shirt.
Yeah, he's wearing a red shirt and he has glasses and he has a little bit of a resemblance of Scott Guthrie, but
It's purely coincidental.
It's coincidental.
This
yeah.
is Guy Guthrie.
This is Guy Guthrie. He's our hero. We also wanted something like Scott Hanselman, or so we had a Hans Scuttleman, but he's not yet in. But you know, we wanted to keep it in the Microsoft
All right.
era, so to
Okay.
speak.
That is awesome, guys.
And we made him the hero of the game. So
Of
yeah, what
course.
can be? We haven't actually got him to play it, but we're
working on that.
we're communicating with his people to show him this.
So
yeah.
basically, can anybody create a game? Did you create an engine, or did you just use graphics primitives, or what did you do?
No, we basically reused this open source gaming framework called Phaser.
Phaser?
Yeah, Phaser.
Phaser.io.
How do you spell it?
Phaser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's a framework, an HTML5 framework, which makes it very easy to create these kinds of games using sprites, physics, even 3D stuff.
And it's HTML. So
Yeah,
it's
it's running in the
just
browser.
HTML, just some
Running in the
JavaScript
browser.
running in
Wow.
the browser. Yeah.
Love it.
Really great framework.
wow.
And then the backend, because that's only the front end part, but the backend part, the actual game logic, that's being run in a bot.
In the bot framework.
Yeah, in the bot framework
So
behind the bot's
You use the
connector
bot
service.
framework as your state machine.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
I
So
love this.
JavaScript goes right to the bot network. There's no web API layer or anything.
That's the interesting thing about the bot framework. once you've got your bot up and running, you can expose it via various channels using the bot connector service. So, for example, you can play the game in Slack, or in Skype, or in Cortana, as a text adventure game, simply by connecting a client to the bot connector service.
I love it.
Oh, this is going to be a big time waster for me in the future.
I remember when I used to get work done.
I can see this happening.
Yeah.
This is the difference between like programmers and mere gamers, is because programmers create their own games. Gamers just play them.
Exactly.
Creating them is much more fun.
It's much more fun.
It took lots of time. And once we had the text version up and running, so we could give commands like look at newspaper or talk to this guy.
Hang on a second, I got to write those down.
It's in the manual.
No spoilers.
Okay.
No spoilers. And you can ask it. You can ask the bot, what can I do? No, that's actually a feature that we don't implement it yet.
Now we should build that.
Yeah. But then we thought about, okay, now we can give it commands and it tells us where we are. You're in a park and there's a bench and there's a newspaper next to it. Then we said, okay, well, let's create these rooms. So what you're looking at when you start the game is, for us, it's the park room.
Right.
And this basically is, in the bot framework, there's the notion of dialogues, and a dialogue handles all kinds of interaction between the user and the bot framework. So we have a park room, and that contains all kinds of logic, and you can interact with that.
So you say room, but it's really like a scene.
It's a scene, yeah.
It's a scene, but we stole the terminology from Lucasfilm games.
Yeah.
And they always called it a room, even if it's outside.
Yeah. Right. And then we had to name the thing. And like we said, naming things is hard. And we were also really just playing Thimbleweed Park. I don't know if you know that one.
No. What's
So that's basically a game in this kind of style with all the humor and the puzzles in it by Ron Gilbert.
Yeah.
Right.
Who
That
is
just
the
came out
original creator of both Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion together with Gary
This
Winnick.
is his modern game, although I'm looking at the graphics and he's still got that pixely style.
So this was a Kickstarter project.
Oh, yeah.
So, and in the game, I don't know if I'm going to spoil, so people that want to play the game still, just cover your ears right now. But in the game, lots of stuff that you interact with is called a Tron.
Okay.
3000. So the Fritz-Tron Tron 3000. And we just stole that, and now it's the game.
We steal a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we steal a lot of stuff. And we did the 3000 first for the V3 of the bot framework. And now we upgraded it to V4, and it's the 4000.
Now it's 4000.
TM, right? So, yeah.
Right.
You're going to defend copyright and trademark. You guys.
No problem.
Okay.
Are there any adult themes in your game?
No, it's totally family fun.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So
Still
no
Disney level. So
no Hooker or Tron 3000, 4000.
not yet, but you're giving us ideas. So
Well,
There's always a sequel in the works.
the most fun game I ever played was Leisure Suit Larry, The Land of the Lounge Lizards, which is a guy in a polyester suit whose main objective is to get laid.
I know. Ken sent me.
Yeah, and one of the funniest scenes is when you have to, you've got your condom and you've got all your stuff and you're ready to go, and you go to a nightclub and there's this girl sitting there and you walk up to her and say hello, and he says, "Hi, may I join you?" And she says, "Why? Am I coming apart?" And you hear doo-doom, like little things.
Yeah. So that's the kind of humor that we also like in the games, and we'd like to put it in. But maybe we should talk also about the scripting, because once we had the game up and running, we wanted to do these kinds of things. But, we have some sprites. So we define what's in the room, what are the objects that we can interact with, what are the actors. And then we had to write code to make it do stuff. And then we started being more gamers than programmers. So we said
more like a director.
Like a director. Even we wanted to script what was happening in the game. So basically, what we did was we created a format, text-based format, and now we can just write a script as if it was a screenplay. What happens in the game, and then the game reacts on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's basically the same as what the classic adventure games did. So, for example, Lucasfilm had Scum, scripting utility for Maniac Mansion, which allowed the game designers to very quickly iterate and create puzzles and storylines.
Yeah, we stole that idea also.
Did you build your sprites in, Paint?
Well, Paint.net. Come on.
Okay, so you went with the leading edge stuff.
I don't know if we can, we were talking about getting sued for that .Netflix thing. But
we're getting sued now anyway, so we can talk about this one as well.
We can just put it all on the table.
Because we both cannot draw at all.
Nope.
So what we did
became
was...
programmers, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we found some guy on the internet who extracted all the original sprites and animations from Monkey Island. So you've got these nice sprite sheets with the walking animations. You can just draw over them with a little bit different colors, make it different
pixel
clouds.
by pixel. So
Pixel by pixel, and then you can get some really nice new animations based on the old stuff.
Oh, I see.
And Phaser can handle that. So you can just feed it a sprite sheet and say that the sprites are these width, and then they animate it, and you can use it within the game.
So I take it the Monkey Island people really don't care, you know.
Well, the Monkey Island people are now Disney, so I really hope they don't care.
Well, it's not like 8-bit games are flying off the shelves at Disney.com.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Disney cares about everything. You're just flying below the radar at this point. Anyway.
Exactly. If they know our game already, then would be very
success. You get a cease and desist from Disney. Hey, A, cease and desist, and B, like put it on the wall.
Yeah,
we're gonna get a beer for that.
That's a great day. Yeah, you throw a party for that. They noticed us. Well, a lawyer did anyway.
Yeah. But okay, we have to. I see some work coming on because we now have to create a hooker sprite. So let's see who does that one. You know.
Now I think the greatest scene in Leisure Suit Larry was the toilet overflowing in the discotheque.
Yes.
It kills you.
Right. Right. Oh, spoiler alert! I never got that far.
Too bad.
Damn.
But that's one thing I've always liked from the LucasArts games, that you cannot get killed.
Right. Well, that doesn't mean anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's this one scene in Monkey Island when you're on the top of a mountain and you can drop off the mountain if you walk too close to the ledge.
Right.
And then you get this very Sierra Online end dialogue from, "Oh, I'm so sorry you are dead."
Yeah.
And then you just have to wait a couple of seconds. And then Kairos, the main character, comes flying in again. And he just exclaims, "Rubber tree." And you can go on playing.
So cool.
Oh, too much.
Very silly ways to get all that done.
Have you guys ever programmed games before you started this?
I haven't. No.
Really? So
No,
it was
me
just
neither.
bringing together the bot framework and some graphics and
That's
a story and
Yeah. And then thinking of the story, we had lots of fun because you start thinking about what can happen and stuff like that. And so we had all kinds of wild ideas, but we haven't come around to writing the scripts. And the thing is that if you want stuff to happen in your world, you have to create a sprite and you have to add it to the game engine in order to script it. So there is some work involved.
Yeah,
in
so
that.
as it turns out, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and mostly our answer is, it's open source, it's up on GitHub. So if you want to add something, help us, and we will accept the pull request.
So do you guys have different roles? Like Edwin, do you do the story and do you do the graphics?
No, I do basically everything, and Edwin does nothing.
Yeah, I'm just I'm being pretty sitting here, and I'm eye candy. I must be very honest. The biggest part of the game was created by Sander. So he created the biggest part. I helped out, but it was his thing. But thinking about the games, we work a lot together, and we have the same kind of humor. So then it starts rolling, and we think about the scripts. And the thing that I did was, because we can maybe look into that a little bit later, but we also added, because we wanted to let people see how versatile the cognitive services are by Microsoft.
Sure.
Right.
You can integrate them into the bot framework. So what we also did was that people can now, the command, for instance, is look at newspaper. And I have to type it correctly because it's just being matched on that string, and then I know what the command is.
And that's also what made those traditional text adventure games so difficult. You had to type exactly what the designer wants you to type.
Verb, noun, pairs, right?
Exactly.
Go north, look, newspaper, like all
Open
those
mailbox, all that stuff.
Hey guys, hold that thought for just a second while we pause for this very important message.
Hey, Carl here. If you enjoy music to code by, you or someone you know might be interested in the app, which I've generically branded Music to Flow by. See what I did there? It's a subscription model, and if you bought the complete collection of Music to Code by before October 24th, 2017, you are eligible to win a free 6-month subscription. With that, you get access to all the tracks on your phone with offline support. You get continuous play and even a sleep timer. Download Music to Flow by in your app store and flow on.
And we're back. .NET Rocks. This is Carl Franklin. That's Richard Campbell. And these guys are Edwin van Wijk and Sander Molenkamp. And they've built a game, an 8-bit graphics game using the bot framework and some great tools online. It runs in the browser. And we were just sort of talking about your roles, but I wonder, what is the story of this game? I know that you have Got Guthrie and
it's basically
Hans Scottelman or whatever it is.
Hans Scottelman, and the guy. Hans Scottelman is not in it yet. But we have Guy Guthrie, and basically he finds himself in a park, and Guy Guy burst through it, and so he finds himself in a park, and there's a newspaper laying there, and he picks it up. And so this might also contain some spoilers, so people might be aware of covering their ears. And then he sees in this newspaper that there's lots of UFO sightings lately. And then he gets beamed up to in a UFO. There's two guys there, awesome. Al and Ian. Okay, and together they are an alien. So, this is kind of the level of humor you have to think about.
That's great.
And there's a big fridge and there's a list. And that's basically, and then you have to solve a puzzle to get beamed down to a nice,
Hawaiian beach.
Hawaiian beach, and then you have played the game. So it's not very long now.
Okay.
So it's all been developing the game and making it better and better. But we're now basically at the point that we can start expanding these scripts and adding stuff to the game.
And more importantly, you can get contributors because it's on GitHub.
Exactly.
So somebody can do their own rooms and add to the story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. A crowdsourced game.
Yeah, that's what we basically want to happen. And I must say that Sander created it also like in very nice framework. So adding new actors, new objects with their assets and how you structure that in the game is very clearly. We're in the middle of describing that, how it works. And it would be really great if we get some, like-minded people with crazy humor to start thinking about all these kinds of
I gotta think that your goal is to get Scott to show it at Build.
Yeah, that would be so keynote. Awesome. Yeah. So Scott, if you're listening, that was Carl that said it, not me, but he read my mind. This is it. So that's one. Yeah, we created a T-shirt, and I think he got it from Jim Bennett. I think he took one from Techorama in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So
But there's also a very clear distinction between what's the game engine and what are the games. So the game engine is all code. But everything in the game is metadata. So it's the assets, it's just some JSON, and it's some plain text scripts describing what the game logic is. So when you are, if you fork this from GitHub, you can expand on the existing game. You can also create your entirely own game.
Yeah, of course.
So I kind of think with the bot framework, you were talking about the language matching, like all of that's just automatic.
Yeah.
That you can try different synonyms and different structures to sentences, and you're probably going to get to the same command goal.
Yeah, we integrated that because I trained a Lewis model to say if I say watch newspaper, then my Lewis model will say, oh, I've detected the intent look at. Right. And the entity is newspaper, I will give you back.
But also read newspaper.
Yeah, or pick up paper.
Or read paper, like all of those variations. That's just, Lewis will just suck that down.
Yeah.
All that hard work that, the Infocom guys used to do to try and make those commands work.
Yeah, and you can just now integrate it into the bot. It's just an API call, and there's very nice integration points, and you just get back what is the intent, what are the entities, and then we know what the command is. And we were already thinking about, okay, let's add speech then. I will talk to the thing. It will create a text.
Why not?
Throw it into Lewis, and I have my intent. And then I can feed it to the bot game. So it's just layering stuff on top of it, and it's so easy. And that was also what we set out to do. We wanted to show people what is possible with these bot frameworks and Lewis stuff, how easy it is.
Right.
But we just happen to,
The Q&A bot is really downplaying what this framework's capable of doing.
Yeah.
And all of these service desk bots are sort of derived that way. You're just missing out on the potential here.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, is there, it sounds like a single-player game right now, but is there potential to do multiplayer games with the botnet framework? I mean...
Yeah, there is. So right now it's really single player, but a bot simply joins a conversation. So if I'm in Slack, I can create a conversation with both me, Edwin, and the bot in a single room.
Yeah.
So in that case, you could create multiplayer games. The question then becomes, what do you define as multiplayer?
Yeah.
So should we both give commands to the bot, or then it's entirely up to you and how you implement your logic.
Yeah, and also then, of course, your story is going to be affected if you have a room with 100,000 people in it, That's kind of unrealistic.
Well, all that means if you're doing it from Slack is everybody's out of memory. Did I say that out loud? That's not right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we need some, there's some capabilities that we need. For instance, so an adventure game like this, you don't want to start over if somewhere halfway you get stuck. So things like saving, points, stuff like that. Yeah. And then the bot framework has state management. So there's also something in there that you can build on top. And then we could implement saving the game at some point in time. So
identifying where all the locations of all the objects and having them stored away.
Yeah.
What puzzles are solved, save that away.
And save the events that happened. Oh, you added this to your inventory.
Yeah.
Because in our scripts, we also have conditions. If I say pick up newspaper, then a flag will be set that I have the newspaper in my inventory.
Right.
So the game will show it. And if I then again say pick up newspaper, it will trigger a different condition and it will say I already picked it up.
What's the name of the game?
Reminds me of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Infocom game where you start out as Arthur Dent with no T, and then later you get T and have both no T and T in your inventory at the same time. That makes the sentient door go, dude, cool. And then it opens.
Try describing that in a manual.
What's the name of the game, actually? I can't remember.
So the game itself is called The Return of the Body Snatchers.
Which is also a bit of a
giveaway. And the engine is being called Gamertron 4000.
Right.
Okay.
You had a 3000 version and then you moved on.
Yeah, the 3000 version is for V3.
1000 better.
Yeah, it's a whole 1,000 better.
Yeah,
and I think I don't think it's working right now, but we've also taken the script from Zork and implemented that into our own scripting language. So you can play Zork on the Gamertron 4000.
I kind of love the idea of a pure verbal implementation of Zork, where it's just a voice describing what's going on, and you're using a voice back to command it to do things.
We're already talking to Morgan Freeman. He hasn't said yes. You're in a world. Yeah. So, or maybe
James Earl Jones.
But you could play Zork using Cortana, but you're talking to it. Yeah.
Well, you get Microsoft involved. They'll just call up James Earl Jones and say, hey, help these guys out because it's going to be Guthrie's keynote.
That would be really
needs
cool.
to be voiced properly.
Yeah.
That would absolutely be hilarious.
No, you cannot pick up the newspaper.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not the newspaper you're looking for.
No. There is no newspaper. And it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that could also we could do gestures for a camera and then we
that's what I'm starting to think about the other UI possibilities.
Yeah, this
right?
is, just slap on some other cognitive services and you can do crazy stuff.
But what I love about 8-bit is because you don't have to do all the crazy graphics, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you basically have 4 positions for each character, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, it is. And actually the phaser library, it is all made to do 4K and all kinds of anti-alias graphics and stuff. And we had to stop that all.
Turn on all.
We had to turn off all kinds of cool features.
Stop making this fancy.
Yeah. Okay, this doesn't look crappy enough. Okay, let's turn some other features off. We really had to have. Yeah, we put some effort in making it look like
Phaser is really particular about drawing nice text. So the text wasn't blocky enough.
Right.
So can you emulate an EGA monitor? That's the question.
There you go.
Oh, with those nice green pinkish colors
and the greatest cyan known to man.
What's it called? Tandy or something like that?
Everybody's like EGA. What's that?
What's that? Yeah, I've had him.
That's horrible.
Yeah, back when VGA was an original idea, before VGA.
That was such a big jump when they got to VGA, and Sierra started with games like King's Quest V and Space Quest 4, and they did these. Those were actually paintings which they scanned into the computer.
Wow.
That's
and the art
such a big jump in graphics.
Welcome to 4 old guys talk about nobody knows about anymore.
Really old games.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah, buddy.
Guess what time it is?
It must be that happy time again.
That's right. It's time to give a spoiler alert for the Gamatron 4000. If you ever get stuck, just say the and you've got super user access.
I'm trying to use this around the house, but it just doesn't work.
What's that, a feature request? Or we should pick this one up, yeah.
It's actually time to give away a $200 Amazon gift card, compliments of Progress Telerik, to one lucky member of the .NET Rocks fan club. But first, let me tell you about the most comprehensive developer toolkit for building modern apps on the market today, Telerik DevCraft. With more than 1,100 Telerik.NET and Kendo UI JavaScript components and controls, you can easily build modern, high-performant web, mobile, and desktop apps as well as chatbots. The toolset also includes reporting solutions, automated testing, and productivity tools, and comes with a range of support options. New this year is a free online training program for all license holders. And with this, alongside thousands of demos with source code, comprehensive docs, and a full assortment of Visual Studio templates, you'll be up and running with the Progress Telerik and Kendo UI tools in no time. Download a free 30-day trial today at telerik.com/download. And also consider supporting .NET Rocks by making a monthly pledge at patreon.netrocks.com to ensure we'll stay on the air for years to come.
All right, buddy. Who's our winner?
Today's winner is Daniel Judge.
Congratulations, Daniel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
Don't judge Daniel. He's just a winner. He won $200 at Amazon, compliments of Progress Telerik, just for being a member of the .NET Rocks fan club. And if you'd like to be a member, go to .NETRocks.com, click on the big Get Free Stuff button, answer a few questions, and join up. We have thousands of members all over the world. In every show, we like to give away stuff from our sponsors. And every December, we give away a $5,000 technology shopping spree to one lucky member of the fan club. And we just gave it away.
You did. Just gave it away to Austin Rush.
Congrats.
Yep. And we like to ask our guests, of course. You guys have probably been practicing for this one. If you had $5,000 to spend on technology today, what would you buy, Edwin?
Okay, yeah, I got that figured out. Yes. I'm a musician.
Hey,
I
nice.
make electronic music and particularly old school 90s boom bap hip hop music.
Awesome.
So if I would have $5,000, I would buy myself the EMU SP1200 sampler.
Old school.
Yeah, old school, because there was a lot of classic hip hop albums from the 80s and 90s that were created on that thing. And I actually looked it up last night while we were shopping for Lego, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Millennium Falcon or not, that was the question.
Yeah.
And I saw one on eBay for $4,999.
Now, are you interested in the sampler or the samples?
The sampler. I want to have it. I want to look at it. I want to touch it and use it for sampling stuff. Yeah.
So you're not a big software sampler?
Yeah, I use Bitwig.
Okay.
I use Bitwig as my DAW, and I have some MIDI controllers. But, this is for the real hip-hop heads, as we say. This is the one. This is the holy grail.
Right.
Cool.
And there's one on sale for $4,999 on eBay. So if you guys could write the check right now, I could still bid on that one.
Yeah, well, you might, with shipping, you might be over a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
probably.
saying.
I will do that out of my pocket. No
You have
problem.
to pick it up.
You'll
No
pay the
problem.
shipping. Okay.
Yeah, you're willing.
All right. Well, how about you, Sander?
So now that winter is coming, I was actually looking for fireplaces, but I don't have a chimney in my home. So I was looking at these newfangled electric fireplaces.
Right, that don't need to be drafted outside.
Yeah, you don't need a chimney. Just light the thing on fire. Live dangerously, my friend.
But the new ones are pretty cool, actually. So they use water damp to simulate flames.
Oh,
and then there are
wow.
LED lights in the bottom which light up, so it actually looks like flames.
Fire looks good.
Yeah. There's a speaker in there, so you hear the...
Wait a minute. Don't
like
you guys have
crackling
this on a TV channel? In the
It's on
Netherlands?
Netflix. On Netflix, there's a fire.
just not warm.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
not warm.
2D.
Yeah.
Well, you get an electric heater and you put a TV in front of it, and there you go.
Or you get an old TV.
I guess.
It will heat up, right? So
That's a good solution.
But unfortunately, this is only like €2,500 or something like that. But or probably buy some Lego, because we were looking at Star Wars sets yesterday.
You guys have too much fun.
You spent a lot of money on Lego.
Totally, yeah.
Wow.
What's the big? There's a big Millennium Falcon.
yeah, it's 900 euros or
It's
something like that.
I think the Star Destroyer that we
Oh yeah, that
saw
one.
was
man,
a
big
really
Star
big
Destroyer.
Imperial Star Destroyer ship, which was €1,200 or something like that.
Does it play music too? I mean,
Nope.
Sing
play
and
the
dance.
It just stands there once you've built it. So
Yeah.
I do like that with these big sets, you get these standards to show them off, right? To put them on.
Yeah.
And you can use that to explain to your wife that it's not a toy. It's
art.
something that
It has a
belongs in a
stand.
museum.
It can't be a
It has
toy.
a
It
stand.
has a
It can't be
stand.
a
art.
Yeah. You cannot play with it, so it's not toy, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
right. Art.
Yeah, do love the big Legos.
Yeah.
So how big do you foresee this game getting?
Yeah, how big do we see it getting? It's just we haven't actually gotten any pull requests, so we're now.
Well, you will now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, but we do a lot of sessions with it, so we want to, get the word out there, and then, we want people to participate, and then it can get as big as we as people want. Actually,
I
right?
should probably check my Azure credits right now.
That's right.
This
Yeah,
might
that's
get
right.
expensive.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the translate services. Like if you did the all text one.
Oh, that's
you
a
get
good
this,
one
like,
also, yeah.
Pick your language. And
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you still displaying text on the screen?
There is some text in the graphical. You see the text on the screen when somebody says something.
Right.
Yes.
But when you pick there's also the bot emulator
Right.
that you can use to just test the game. So we use that to test it, and then you just see the textual description what is in the room. So we also, from the script, we have two choices to say this is for the GUI and this is for the text-based.
Right.
And then but because for the text-based, we have to send more text to the customer so he knows what's going on.
Yeah, so translation would be interesting as well for the GUI. Just send everything through it and you can keep the script in a single language.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can run this in a console window and just do all text.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Or do it all audio, right? Like it could literally just be an earbud.
Yeah,
it reminds
that's cool.
me. It reminds me. There was a game. I think it was on Android, but it was for exercise. It was for running.
Yeah,
and where we were trying to avoid zombies.
Yeah,
that's right. I remember
And
this.
it was just audio, right? Like because you can't have the eyes while they're running, right? But it was really creepy.
But it was in real mapped space.
Yeah,
so
it was
you
using
would
map space.
run through New York or whatever, and then zombie ahead.
Yeah.
Watch out! You got to take a detour.
turn left.
Yeah, well, we have lots of ideas. We also had the idea that when we do something with the game on, for instance, a conference like this, that we create a booth. People can step in, make a picture of their face. We pixelate it. And then you get you'll be an extra in the game. People just walking behind Scott, like, "Hey, Scott, how you doing?" Our guy, and then
That is so cool.
So we have ideas galore. But we also
what
work.
You do is
we
you
also have a day job. And
what you do is you set up a Patreon account, and if $100 a month gets you to be an extra in our game.
Exactly. And if you do 200, you get lines of text.
Nice.
That's
well,
cool.
you can actually talk.
If you do 300, you can get a curse word in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the important part, clearly.
Yeah, so it will be evolving, but it's also, like I said, it's all dependent on how much time we can spend at it, because we also have a day job and help customers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and our original goal was always to create a nice demo for the bot framework, not to create a game itself. So that's not.
Well, and just an interesting example of this it's essentially a UI device.
Yeah.
That I should have a set of services that I have, and this is a different kind of UI that can be typed, can be spoken. But I like that you've tied in a visual engine so that it isn't just the text back from the bot,
right?
But showing additional information.
Yeah,
it's more efficient in other formats. Our sponsor Telerik makes a set of bot controls.
That's right.
The big one is the date picker.
Yeah.
It's like selecting dates manually in a bot sucks.
Yeah.
So, actually being able to pull up a control of some kind to select a date.
Yeah, and that's also how you can see that the game concepts and the bot concepts really align well, because in the bot framework, you also have these prompts for date time, for instance.
Right.
But also suggested actions.
Yeah.
So you say something to the bot and it says, okay, you can choose from these 3 items. Mm-hmm. That's what we use when we are in a conversation, for instance, with Al or Ian. That we tell him something, and then the responses that we can give, just like in the old school games, are just suggested actions, and you can click on them and they will be sent back to the bot.
Right.
And then if you play it in the emulator, you will actually see the UI of the emulator showing these suggested actions, and you can click on them.
What I really like about this is that it's a creative way to take sort of real world things, the characters that we know and our sort of culture, and put it into the game. Is there any real world integration with the game? In other words,
not yet. No.
Nothing comes to mind in particular, but being able to order a pizza, perhaps.
No, not yet. But what isn't there? It could be.
Right. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
I'm going to be playing.
We haven't been able to beam anyone actually to a UFO, so
that you should work on that, because that would be a killer feature.
Once we find that, then we'll.
Yeah, I mean, if you Patreon 1,000 a month, maybe you could get that.
We will call Elon, and maybe he can work something out.
I do like this idea of the bots fall neatly into sort of the ambient compute space. So it's almost like I want a secondary machine in my office that I only use that vocal interface or so forth, just to display where the way you change that display between different modes is through the bot framework.
Yeah.
Whether it's the weather check or any of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But that,
you can tie it into a lot. Yeah.
And now you also start seeing these smart speakers getting screens, right? Like
the
Amazon Echo and stuff.
I was going to say, if I'm on a long ride, I will play 20 questions with Alexa. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Nice.
But it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Lenovo just shipped a Google Home device that has a pretty good sized screen on it as well. And it's exactly along that line. It's like these pure voice interfaces, but then also the screen, because certain things are better shown than described.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And so that mixture of when when does your bot jump out of, I just say this back to you, whether it's typed or spoken, and actually choose to display something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same on my watch. I'm wearing an Apple Watch, and if I ask if I use the S word to ask a certain someone to show me the weather, it just shows the weather. It's not gonna talk about the whole week. It just shows me the graph for the whole week.
All right, here's the joke of the year, right? Siri, read me the Gettysburg Address. Good luck shutting her up now.
Just angered everybody, right?
Did he wake up or?
Yeah.
No, I need to buy a new one.
It's vaguely
Saved
broken.
by the dead battery.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to fall into my IT side where we have that sort of network operations center with many screens on it, and one of the hassles is all the different configurations.
Yeah.
What do you want to see and how do you want to see it? So
Yeah, we did a Netflix episode with Jeffrey Obdam. He's an MVP and he's also an ALM Ranger.
Okay.
And he created a bot in which he could basically control TFS and the whole deployment pipeline for a project from, I guess it was Slack or Skype.
Yeah.
So you could just say, okay, give me all the releases. And then you got back the suggested action with all the releases. You can click on it and he could basically do all kinds of stuff, all the DevOps stuff
Right.
through a bot, and that interacted with TFS. So
Yeah.
yeah, and this is not voice yet, but with all these cognitive services, it's pretty easy. Once
to add that
you
in.
have trained the models, it's pretty easy to integrate it into the pipeline.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better to have an 8-bit adventure game to control your DevOps pipeline?
Yeah, and then that DevOps pipeline builds the 8-bot adventure game.
That's very meta of you.
Wow.
I like it.
Inception, my friend.
Yeah. a game that builds the workflow for the game.
Yeah.
That's messed up. All right. Yeah, an Inception game. That's what
Inception
you're
game, yeah.
Oh,
we were
wow.
already very glad with a fridge that worked, so,
Yeah, now you can do more,
Baby
more
steps.
disruptions on all that.
So we've talked about the bot network before, but just to refresh people's memory, because now if they're excited to do it, how do we get started with the bot network?
Yeah, so you've got a bot framework, and that consists of a couple of parts. So you've got a bot framework SDK, which is available for C#, Java, Python, and Node.js. So you can use that to build your own bot. And that comes with a couple of tools. You've got some command line tools to provision and maintain your bot in Azure. There's an emulator you can use so you can locally debug on your machine. And then there's this web chat component that you can use to host your bot into your website.
Right.
And thinking about naming, because it's now the Azure Bot Service, right? So if you go to the documentation,
sometimes it depends on which documentation page you are. So I think they're trying to call the whole thing Azure Bot Service, and then you've got a bot framework with these components, and then you've got the bot connector service, and that's actually where you register your bot in Azure.
Right.
So you register your bot and you register any client channels such as Slack, Skype, and that sort of things. And then the thing we use from the browser is called a direct channel connection.
direct line channel. Yeah.
You're right, a direct line channel. And that's basically opens up a WebSocket connection between the browser and the bot connector. You can send events over that channel.
But basically just go to docs.microsoft.com, look for bot framework, and make sure that you select the V4 documentation, because the V3 is also in there. But make sure you get the last version, and then you get all kinds of how-tos and facts and stuff like that to get started with the bot framework and sample applications.
And if you need a sample application, go to github.com/amoling/Gametron4000.
Yep. So
And what's going to happen with Gametron 5000? You got any new features that you want to put in there?
yeah, this is all NDA. We cannot talk about that. It's too soon, Carl. Just call us when we have some announcements. No.
Okay.
No, there are no actual plans for making a big change to the engine, but maybe adding some stuff to the game.
Maybe add in as much as cognitive services as we can get in there. Yeah.
That's a good idea. And speech, you don't need to add it because it's already there, right?
You can just
You can just use speech.
It's a cognitive service, right?
It's cognitive service.
So,
Or whatever speech engine.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to cover before we sign off?
No, we basically covered everything, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure that session went well here. Folks must have loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was full room, so we were very glad with that.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the GitHub repo?
It's /amolenk/Gamertron 4000.
We'll put it
So
in the
the-
show notes.
Put it in the show
already.
notes.
Yeah. We'll send you.
All right, great.
The framework for that.
Well, Edwin, Sander, thank you very much for joining us. It's been so much fun geeking out
Thanks
with you
for
guys.
having us. It was great.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time on .NET Rocks. .NET Rocks is brought to you by Franklin's Net and produced by Pwop Studios, a full-service audio, video, and post-production facility located physically in New London, Connecticut, and of course in the cloud. Online at pwop.com. Visit our website at dotnetrocks.com for RSS feeds, downloads, mobile apps, comments, and access to the full archives going back to show number 1, recorded in September 2002. And make sure you check out our sponsors. They keep us in business. Now go write some code. See you next time.
Got transmitter bands